All right, for this sequence, we are gonna practice side lying. I really recommend having a pillow or a bolster. That's gonna be much more comfortable for the receiver once they roll over onto one side. So to get into the side lying position from supine, you'll start off at one side, and then you'll use your hands to support lifting the leg. So one hand goes behind the knee, the other hand goes to the foot. You'll bend the knee so that you're stacking the knee above the hip, and then you'll gently guide the leg over towards your prop, making sure it's close enough. And then I like to take a few rocks. So just rocking them over towards their prop. And then from here, you can just position one hand on the outer thigh to maintain them in place. So while one hand is on the thigh, you can take your other hand to the shoulder and melt your body weight forward so that you're giving them a supported twist. Back out. See if you can match their breath. Listening for the sound of their breath and pressing in with their exhale. Now from here, you'll take your hand to gently lift their hand and then bring it over, support their back. Let them come into a side lying position. Make sure that they're comfortable with their head on their pillow. And here we're gonna work with the glute area. So this can be an area that holds a lot of tension for people. I'll show you some different techniques that you can use. First, we're gonna use palming. So again, avoiding bone, you wanna find the fleshy bits, and you're gonna use the heel of your hand to press into those areas. Depending on the body type that you're working on, you might need to feel around to find where to press in and where there might be patterns of tension. Now, another tool that you can use is your knuckles. That's going to up the intensity. So maybe check in with the receiver, make sure that that level is okay. And if you feel a lot of tension or if the receiver wants to go deeper, then you can use the thumbing technique. So this is where you're gonna point your thumbs directly down into those areas of tension and just lean your body weight forward. Now that might be a lot for the receiver, so check in, make sure that's okay. If you're really not sure, if you can't see their face, you could ask for a hand signal. You're letting one hand hold space while the other hand explores, if you're in the palming. And if you find an area of tension, you can stay working on that area. If you see any flinching or jumping, might need to back out a little bit. If you're thumbing, go ahead and come into knuckling, and then from there back to palming. So easing your way out. Now, look for the crest of the hip bone and the bottom of the ribs. So the space between those two areas, you're gonna take your fingers to press in, looking for the quadratus lumborum, the QL, the largest muscle in the low back. Now here you can just dig the fingers in a lot or not much at all. This is gonna depend on the receiver. So some people don't like too much, some people want it to go really deep. I've got a receiver today that's very ticklish, and I can already tell that this is an area that's not gonna work for him, so I'm not gonna press in too much, but to press in deeper, you're just gonna shift your weight forward. Now, another technique that you can do is that you can get into both sides by using the snake grip. So you're gonna take your hands like this, and you're gonna use your peace fingers of each hand, and then your thumb. So you're making this like diamond shape. So the fingers are gonna reach one side and the thumbs are gonna reach the other. So from where your fingers are, you're just gonna lower down, find that area in the back space, Squeeze in with the fingers and the thumbs. Snake grip. Gently back out. Hold the back space. Now we're going to go deeper into the back. You want to find the spine, but you don't want to press into the spine. So outside, on either side of the spine, are the erector spinae muscle. So you're going to look for that muscle, find the spine, and then move above it. Start with your thumbs and just lightly let your fingers rest on the rest of the back. Now, press in with the thumbs and then you can roll up. Some people have more tension here than others. So you're moving from the low back up the back. Make sure that you're close enough. And once you get towards the shoulder blade, you're going to take the hands and squeeze the trapezius. And as you're squeezing the trapezius, find that shoulder blade, find that bone. We're going to work here next. So now you're going to turn your body. Now you're facing their back. You're going to turn your body so that your thigh is right up against their back. You're in your kneeling position. From here, you're going to take your hand underneath their arm and bring your hand to the front of their shoulder. Let their arm rest heavy. Remember, they don't need to do any work. Now your other hand is going to come around and meet, fingers interlace, and then you're going to pull the shoulder back. Now you might notice their head lifting as you do this. That's okay, that's supposed to happen. Just giving a nice neck stretch here, and then lean their shoulder blade onto your leg. And do that a couple more times. So now you're opening their chest and their shoulder. Their back muscles are leaning onto your thigh. Now, pull the shoulders towards you, lean towards your legs and circle around. Take a few circles. Find stillness. Keep your first hand at the shoulder. Take your other hand, your fingers are going to look for the shoulder blade. Now, send the fingers up into the shoulder blade underneath, and then use your other hand to guide their shoulder over. Back to neutral, reposition the fingers higher up, and then just guide them to roll onto your fingers. So now you can get deeper underneath the scapula. You can find knots. You can also work with your thumb if you want to go deeper. And again, you'll want to check in with the receiver, see what's appropriate. And then bring them back so that they've got their top shoulder stacked above their bottom. Now, as you slide your hand out from under their arm, extend their arm. So now you're bringing their wrist above their hip, arm is straight. Now you're gonna come onto your knees. You're gonna press one hand to their deltoid, and you're gonna press the other to their wrist. Take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, melt your weight forward, finding length in the arm. Come out. Now move your hands closer towards the elbow. Each time you inhale, coming out, and each time you exhale, leaning forward. Avoid the elbow. Once you get close to the elbow, start to work your way back out to your starting point. And once you find your starting point, come back onto your shins, back into a kneeling position. And here I like to just let their elbow bend, and I support their elbow with my thigh. Now, this gives me the space to work with their hand. So when you're working with the hand, remember that this is an area that's used a lot that doesn't get very much attention at all. So I'll show you some techniques that you can work with here. So taking the top of the hand, you're going to use your thumbs to make circles in between the spaces of bone. And you'll practice that between each of the fingers. Then find the space between the index finger and the thumb. This space right here holds a lot of stress and tension. So as you gently hold their hand, use your own thumb and index finger to press into this area. Let that stress and tension go. So you're pressing in, holding, letting go, and then pressing in again. Once you release, from here, I like to open up the palm and then work with pressing into the palm. So find the space at the base of the thumb and take your fingers to work that area, and then go to the pinky side and just let your thumbs work their way up towards the fingers, feeling at the base of the knuckles. And then from here, you can take your fingers to interlace with theirs. Use your other hand to hold onto their arm and gently draw circles for wrist mobility. And then opposite direction. You could even give a gentle press back if that feels appropriate. 1, 2, or 3 times. And gently release your fingers and take one hand, your hand that you have free, to their upper arm, and just let their arm come out to the side, palm facing up. So now their arm is grounded down. And gently start to scoot away. Now you're going to take your hands, one to the foot, one to the back of the knee, and gently extend the leg, bring it back down so that your receiver is back into a supine position. So here we've done one side of side lying, and you'll repeat that same sequence on the other side.